Any man can be a father, but it takes someone special to be the daddy. The Daddy Diaper Pack is available at daddingcompany.com.
Welcome to My Life as a Dad. Today's guest is Doug Gertner, a book author, but more importantly, dad. How do you discipline a 15-year-old? I know how to discipline a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
How did you? Are you doing it differently than you did then, or?
It's a great question because, as you say, as you think about it, you've been through it with older kids, and parenting in the here and now with your younger kids. It did start very early, and they would ask you. You may recall when you send your kids off to a camp or a program or something like that, they'll ask, the good ones will say, now how do you discipline? Because we may need to do some disciplining with your kid when they're on our watch. And we would always say, we redirect is one of the things that I would say we do. And that dads and moms parent differently, and yet I'm lucky that with my partner, we really seem to be on the same page. Mm-hmm. And we both believe, and this is a little bit more like dads, to let them, explore and experiment and experience a little bit more rather than stopping them sooner and sooner. And so from a very early age to this age, I'll let him push things with me. And our relationship is enhanced when I can show him that I trust him and I honor his wishes. And right now, I think there's a lot of trust and a lot of agreement to not push it too far.
Mm-hmm. Give me an example of redirect.
Well, at a very early age, when they're doing something you don't want, I mean, it's as simple as whether or not you plug up the electrical receptacles. Kids want to put their fingers in the socket. Mm-hmm. And so there's, we had a goal of not letting the first word that our son learned be no. So rather than that, it might be, hey, look at this. And all you need is his favorite stuffy, his favorite toy.
Right.
And hey, that receptacle is not as interesting, not as engaging as something that's colorful, that has bells on it and that sort of thing. So from a very early age, it was redirecting. And then, if they're crawling or toddling in the wrong direction, there's always a way to say, hey, put your attention here.
What are you doing with, I know the state of Colorado is now pot friendly.
It's a green state, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. And you have a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with that?
So openly and honestly, but again, like with the car, not trying to push it on him. You know as well as I do that these kids actually know a lot more about most things that, we would like to educate them on before we ever bring the topic up. From having the original talk, right, about mm-hmm. sex, to having the talk about drugs, and of course rock and roll's been there all along. Mm-hmm. But he knows a lot. I've been taking my kid to live music. One of the best places, as you're well aware with your roots in Colorado, is the Telluride Bluegrass Festival. Mm-hmm. And he, I have pictures of him there in a stroller. I have pictures of him there playing among the crowd. He has smelled weed since a very early age. And while, his mom and I don't need it medicinally and we don't use it recreationally, we're not going to hide the fact that Dad has some experience with this from his youth. Mom has none. And so he has this nice counterpoint and balance in his parents, and he's as smart as we are in knowing that it's not good for a teenage brain. And so if he were to hold off and wait a little bit longer to experiment with something which all the messages in Colorado and really nationally more and more are saying, hey, if it's legal, it must not be that bad. He understands that alcohol also has its drawbacks, and marijuana as well as harder drugs do. And for my money, I think he's seen the effects that it can have on people, and he's not terribly drawn to it. But at the same, in the same breath, I would say to you, I expect some experimentation. And so what I've said to him is, I want you to know that in my day, I tried everything that I thought was safe and not, going to harm me, and probably a few things that I was wrong about it. You can talk to me about any of this, and I really hope you will. And I think that that's going to stand, where it needs to as this whole teenage experimentation process plays out.
My life as a dad.
Any man can be a father, but it takes someone special to be the daddy. Please join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have a favorite celebrity or athlete dad that you'd like to see on the show, please give us a comment below. Sponsored by Daddy & Company, the perfect gifts for dad. Get 15% off your next purchase at daddyandcompany.com using promo code MLAAD15.